And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friends Tree McDougal and Tim Turner. This is a Wednesday edition of You Get What You Get. Hope everybody's having a great midweek as we begin to head down the home stretch to the weekend. There's a lot of stuff going on. But first and foremost, I want to welcome my two co-hosts and all our viewers out there. Good evening, Tim and Tree.
Good evening, guys. I've missed you so. It feels like it's been forever since I've seen you. But what is it, like a week or two? A week?
Just a week?
Feels like it's been way too long. It's been a long time. You shouldn't have left me without a run.
Hey, that's Rakim.
Yes, but that was dope beat to step to. Thank you for knowing that.
Yes, sir. Eric B. and Rakim right there.
Yes. Tim, what you got?
I was like, but it's only been a week, and it feels like it. But it's for good reason because of Ricky Jr. and his basketball team's exploits. The run is over. But it was with good reason for skipping a week.
Yeah. Proud of the team, man. All those kids will be graduating. He has 4 seniors that'll graduate. Hey, we'll get them next year. Wait till next year.
They had to fight to get into the playoffs, so that was a deal. So
yeah, absolutely. And speaking,
we need to have Ricky Jr. on here. How come we haven't had Ricky Jr. on here?
No, I don't think he would want to do our show.
He
would probably. He might go on with you and Tim, but he probably don't want to stop interviewing him. I'm like, dude, why don't you do that? But I will tell you this quick story. The game to get in was one of the best basketball games I've seen. It was a triple overtime game, 99-92, and at this little school in Silla College in Indiana. In Indiana, basketball at every level is really out there. So it's a nice little crowd and I mean, it is tense and everything. I'm sitting here next to Kathy, and I'm just going like, dang, why don't they do this? Why don't they do this? Because I'm always complaining to him about something. And the way we're set up, he can see right across. And we made eye contact, and he's just over there laughing at me. I'm like, he's just smiling, like, dude, relax. After the game, I said, Ricky, were you laughing at me? He said, yeah, Pop. He said, man, I said, how do you remain so cool about that? He said, hey, I can't do nothing but tell them what to do. They got to make the shots. But you were going crazy over there.
Oh, I love
like that. But that's really one of the cool things of watching your kid do that.
Yeah, he's not coming on here with that if that's the case.
No, he ain't coming on this show.
At some point he's going to get some coaching tips from somebody who he doesn't want to hear from, and it's not me or Tree. We're not calling
the guy he had in there. I'm like, why he got him in the game? The dude had 26 points in the last 15 minutes of the game. I guess he knew what he was doing when he put him in there. Been nice if he'd have saved some of those for last night. But anyway, that's another always complaining, right? Always complaining, right?
Yeah.
No.
But anyway, that was fun. And me relaying this story is not nearly as funny as actually being there and seeing it. But that's something, as a parent, I will never forget, for sure. But let's get to it, guys, because we got a lot to talk about. Talk about playoffs.
I'm sorry, playoffs.
Playoffs.
We talking about playoffs?
I mean, we headed that way with the NCAAs coming up. We got the conference tournaments coming up. Man, I was watching the ending of Tennessee and South Carolina before we came on the air. I don't know if Tennessee held on or not, but this kid from Tennessee,
whatever his name is.
Yeah, I just learned about him a couple of weeks ago. You guys are down south. Have you seen much of him?
I saw him play Georgia one Saturday afternoon, and Georgia was up huge, and that kid by himself brought the team back. I don't understand how teams can let one person bring them back without somehow that kid suffering some sort of injury.
See,
Because it was him by himself, just doing whatever he wanted to, and I'm like, you gotta take care of him. And
Tim is definitely old school, Tree.
I've said that about Tim as long as I've known him, which is
if you can't stop him, pop him.
Exactly. That's exactly the way I was like, why are they letting this kid do what he wants to do? He's got to feel some pain at some point. But he's an incredible
Back in my day, Tim, what would it have been?
Back in my day, he'd be on a stretcher. No, but I saw him play over the weekend where he did the same thing. I think the Texas A&M or somebody like that, because the kid is an immense talent. He's probably the player of the year in the SEC, if there's any justice in the world. Because every time I've seen him play, he has been outstanding.
Yeah, and he's patient. I mean, he understands the game. He's fun to watch, and he's got a couple of guys to play with him. Tennessee's not. Speaking of the SEC, I mean, they got some. It's like SEC football, man. They got some top teams in the conference there, and Tennessee did hold off South Carolina 66-59. South Carolina's a very good team. They're ranked 17th. Kentucky's ranked. Gosh, I think it's like 5 teams in the top 25.
I was looking at something and said the SEC, if things go to plan after the tournament next week, and I think it's in Nashville next weekend, not this weekend coming up, but the weekend following. There is talk that SEC will have 7 teams in the tournament. And to me, that's unheard of, because generally when you think about SEC basketball, you say Kentucky and spring football.
Right.
Somebody else in the league
That's
is
true.
Of being in there. Maybe Florida, maybe Alabama on a wild year, maybe a Tennessee. But they're talking about 7 teams going to the tournament, and that's interesting to me to see it like that.
Well, check this out, Tree. If Tennessee had lost tonight, which they didn't, the season could have conceivably ended in a 5-way tie for first place with Florida, Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina, and Tennessee. And Mississippi State is right there behind them. They're 19-10, and you figure LSU and Texas A&M, man, they could get 9 teams in. Tim, they could go all the way down to Texas A&M. Right. In this tournament.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a good year, because I think this year for them, the ACC isn't as strong, or some other conferences don't have the same quality up and down like normally. Like, I mean, it's been pretty average in the ACC. Duke's been ordinary. I saw Carolina lose to Wake. Was it Duke? No, I saw Wake beat Duke, and that's something. Want to talk about a little bit about that. It's like, they always want to stop stuff when one of their kids get hurt. And you know what I'm talking about? One of their kids. Yeah. Everybody been storming the court forever and a day, but now you get this one kid who I thought looked like he stuck his foot out to trip.
Yeah, I mean,
it looked like he stuck his foot out to trip the guy before he hurt his ankle. But no, now court storming is a big deal. And
it's a big deal.
Well, it is. If you win a big game like that, you should expect it. Then
it's been happening for years.
Well, we have like these outlier incidences, but they're to the families, they're bigger deals. There was like some storming the field and goalposts coming down in the football game this year, where a kid got conked on the head with the goalpost and died. So, I mean, so if you get a situation, that kind of stuff where it's like, it's dangerous, just storm the field, but don't leave the goalposts alone or whatever. Because I think the SEC has, they fine teams for storming the field in football. And, I don't know if people build that into a budget for an upset or anything. If Auburn's playing Alabama, Auburn's got their money set aside for that upset of Alabama probably. But other teams can't afford to.
You remember Tennessee last year, Vandy? I mean, Tennessee and Alabama?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tennessee and Alabama? Yeah, that was big.
So I was going to ask, so when did the whole, circling back to the storming the Yeah, when did that start? I don't remember that. Has it always been that way?
I don't know. I just I think it depends on the level of your program. I don't ever see Duke. They don't storm the court for anything unless they beat Carolina. I mean, if them beating them beating some of the
Yeah.
sisters of the poor of the ACC, they're not going to get excited about stuff like that because they're Duke. These blue bloods don't storm the court. They expect to win. They don't do stuff like
I've never seen it I've never seen it at a CIAA championship. No.
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 I've seen it. I've seen it in SIEC when Morehouse is beating Clark in Clark's gym, and I thought you do that in your home place. Otherwise, you got to get a two-piece in somebody else's gym. So I just think that was too bright.
When I think about storming the field, I remember '77, Reggie Jackson hitting those 3 homers, and people storming the field at Yankee Stadium because Reggie ran over 2 or 3 people trying to get out of there. You know, he was an old football player at Arizona State, and he showed some of that getting off the field. You remember that?
Reggie Jackson. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back.
But that's the first time I remember. Well, hey, what about the band running on the field? Is that considered storming the field?
Well, it is.
Now versus Stanford.
That to me, that should be considered that for real, because it's just as deadly.
Yeah, it's
dangerous. Part of the winning play.
Dangerous.
But anyway, I don't know how we got so deep down this hole.
Well, we were talking about basketball and championships and storming the field, and we went down that road. So it's watching SEC sports or basketball. So that's what we went to in there in the colleges. But you know what? We talk about other things about colleges. This is something that's kind of sticking in the craw. Black History Month is behind us now.
Never. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, but for the official observance +1 this year on the 29th, Caitlin Collins breaks the record for women's basketball, then all-time basketball in points. But yeah, she still didn't have the record or any semblance of the record, right? Because I think
Pearl Moore.
Pearl Moore has more points. Her career points are 44,061, where Collins at last was 3,569. And that is with.
You're talking about Caitlin?
Yeah, Caitlin is. Caitlin.
Yeah, this is Caitlin right here.
She gets 3-pointers.
Clark.
Courtesy of Fox Sports, I believe. Yeah.
She gets 3-pointers all the time. And I went back and looked at her how many 3-pointers that she took in her career. And it was like 509. So I subtracted that from her total. If all of those were just 2-point baskets, she'd only have 3,060 points, which would leave her like 1,001 points behind Miss Moore, Pearl Moore's mark, because she only had 2-pointers.
Yeah, but Tim,
free throws,
we shouldn't diminish what you don't want to take away. I mean, she is a great player, and it's not her fault that people have chosen to overlook.
But at some point you want to say, you know what, I'm doing really well, but let's not forget history. If it's all about me, it seems as if that's the deal. It's like, yeah, this is what I've done. You need to give a nod to people who were before you, because women weren't given the opportunity till the 80s to be in the NCAA. Okay, so you get up there and blowing all the rest. Well, that's
just like. Now I'm with you on that. Like Lynette Woodard.
Yes,
it's not in the record books. The great player from Kansas. I was talking to our friend Paul Mopesky.
But you know what?
Who was
there are a lot of.
Now go ahead, Tree.
No, I was going to say there are a lot of hidden figures, throughout.
Oh yeah.
That people don't know about, don't know the history, and so to your point, don't want to take anything away from Caitlin, but yeah, you're right. There are some people who have done some great things in sports that are not as recognized. And then, but yeah, I think that.
Back to Tim. But Tim, one thing I will say, and I'm not defending her. I don't think she needs defending. That's not her job. It is the people in the media's job.
Yes.
To
Yes.
Acknowledge these exploits and chronicle the players of history. You're right. It would have been nice if she had a better understanding of that. Right. But you can imagine the people that are covering women college basketball these days. In fact, the only guy I know that covers it on a regular basis is our friend Mike Roberts. And, everybody's just not going to look at it from the perspective we do. And it's important. I think it's good and important you point that out, because there's so many times where we are overlooked. As Tree just said, there are a lot of hidden figures out there.
It should not be hidden figures. That's the thing.
So you're right, Tree. But when opportunities arise like this, people should give them their shine. That's the thing I'm getting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if anything happens, like back in my day, when I was working in Orlando, I did a story on the 50th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, and I was going around talking to black ball players in spring training. And Frank Thomas was like, I really don't remember too much about Jackie Robinson. It really doesn't impact me, or something to that effect. It was like that. So about a week or so later, I was relaying those quotes to a one Henry Aaron down in West Palm Beach, who said a bunch of things that could never make my newspaper, given what he thought of what Frank said. So, people need to recognize the shoulders that they're standing on, or irrespective of in what form, they need to be careful of that.
And I want to jump right into this next. Quickly about Lynette Woodard, who was a great player back when she was playing. NCAA basketball didn't even recognize women's players. But I was going to tell you, our friend Paul Mulkeski, she was there when Paul was there. In the summer, she played with the men's varsity in pickups games. And it's like, I got Lynette with the men's varsity in Kansas. Oh, yeah, I got Lynette. He said she was never the last person picked, that she could deal with anybody. But transitioning to that, you go to what, you talk about hidden figures, and then you go to Emmitt Smith. Props to Emmitt Smith the other day for speaking out about Florida. Golly, Florida. And their plan to ban and restrict diversity, equity, inclusion programs. Emmitt Smith fired back on that, saying, well, here's a little one sentence from: to many minority athletes, please be aware and be vocal about this decision about a university who is now closing doors on other minorities without any oversight. And it's just, and not only did we have that, we had, I believe it was the mayor of Birmingham, Tree, who encourages black athletes to stay away from going to Alabama because some of its policies. So we're still fighting these battles here in 2024.
I always thought it would be easier as I got older, but it's actually getting hard. We're going back in time, which is what some people want. But you said they told them to stay away from Alabama. I have friends from Alabama. I love Alabama football, even though I'm from Georgia. But I've long stayed away from Alabama.
Well, he doesn't want. He encourages athletes to go play somewhere else.
Yeah.
Did you say this is the mayor of Birmingham who said this?
Yeah.
That's and I would kind of expect that. The mayor of Birmingham is a Morehouse guy, so he's all about HBCUs for sure. That's interesting because you got UAB right there in town, and then you have Tuscaloosa just maybe 2 hours up the road to the west. So that's interesting that he would say that. You got, well, I think there's a Miles or Talladega colleges are there in Birmingham. I think the University of Alabama's come a long way since Sam Bam Cunningham embarrassed them when Southern Cal played Alabama and beat Alabama, where Bear Bryant broke the color barrier after that.
Yeah, and the same thing in Birmingham. The Senate has approved a bill that will ban diversity, equity, and inclusion programs from various state institutions, ranging from local school boards to state level government agencies and public universities. And in response, Mayor Randall Woodfin said to the leadership, athletic directors, and coaches of University of Alabama, Auburn University, and the University of Alabama, Birmingham, do you support this conclusion, this prohibition of diversity and inclusion to the minority parents who are helping their children decide if they want to play sports at these institutions? Would you be cool with your child playing at schools where diversity among staff is actively discouraged? And he says, I have no problem with Black parents and athletes attending other institutions outside the state where diversity and inclusions are prioritized. Props to that Morehouse man, Mayor Woodfin, for saying that.
Well, sounds like one, he's not running for re-election. But I think that he makes really great points all the way around in that regard. You should never actively do anything. That shouldn't be the case. And when all these programs are being dismantled corporately and with the states, it shows you that the pandemic is over and people have really gotten George Floyd way in the back of their minds now. Because when George Floyd popped up, everybody was on board with DEI. Everybody was all on board with all of these things about let's be, more equitable in everything. And now it's like, forget that noise. We're healthy. We no longer have to quarantine. We're ready to roll on, and business as usual is what we're saying.
And man, when you make Emmitt Smith mad, because I mean, Emmitt's one of the most easygoing guys out there today. I mean, to get him upset, it is so good to see him address those issues down in Florida as they continue to do what they do down there in Florida. So there we are there. And one more, we got Mississippi had a bill to try to kill the state's HBCUs. Fortunately, it failed. I mean, come on, guys.
I think they're taking it back, just kind of, what do they say, look over it over the summer. I don't think that effort is going to go away. I don't think I think they're still coming for HBCUs.
Well, they have been for a while. When I used to live there, and back then they were talking seriously about a lot of consolidation of the campuses. And I can't see that because there are no cultural fits between the big three schools. Well, maybe the big three is Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Southern Mississippi. Maybe Southern Mississippi, of the three schools, that is the more progressive to me. And that's the one people look down their nose at more so than State and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is like the standard. That's the Ross Barnett, that thing. And then it's Mississippi State with the cowbells. And right then below that is, Southern Miss. They make the comments about that. But I don't think any of them would be a fit for Alcorn, Jackson State, or Valley. They wanted to merge Valley with Delta State, which is a D2 school up in the Mississippi Delta, hence the name Delta State. But that wouldn't have worked. To me, it wouldn't. I mean, all these things that people are talking about, I think there was a need for those HBCUs, given the climate, and there's still a need for them given the climate, because it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed exponentially since they were created.
Right. Need it more so now than ever, I think.
And now Tougaloo's there. They're private though, correct?
Tougaloo it's a private school. It's an HBCU private school. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but it's scary that people get up there and they're like, we got our rifles trained on you guys, as opposed to, helping people out in some really desperate situations in the state. It seems like people are always focused on these cultural wars as opposed to actual legislation. I mean, this is nationally and locally. Things that don't really get anything done beyond gotcha stuff. So
yeah,
it's a sad state where we're in.
Hey, everybody just needs to get out there and express their right to vote, because that's about all we got now to try to hold some of this stuff off. But it's really something. We begin the show, the first half hour of the show, devoted to issues of diversity and equity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but this is where we are, and
this is a cultural thing, part of the show. We don't always just stick to the balls and strikes and kicks and baskets, but these things are important because they spill beyond the borders of that.
Yeah, which is what we have to deal with, certainly on a consistent basis. But it is some sports going on now, with the NFL free agency period right around the corner, and Russell Wilson is about to be released from Denver, and good for Russell. I hope he goes somewhere and does very well, man. I think, I'm not saying he played great out there, although when you look at Russell Wilson's stats from this year, he threw 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Tim, would you have taken that from your quarterback in Atlanta?
Yes. Yes, I would.
I was going to ask that same question.
Yes. Please give me that. But see, the deal is with this guy, and, bless him, likely next Wednesday, Kirk Cousins will be the Falcons quarterback. There's just so much stuff lining up for that because, one, he married a girl from suburban Atlanta. Kirk and his wife, unless they're really committing to the ruse, Kirk and his wife are in Atlanta this week looking at schools for their kids. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So, it could be just, we got to make it look real so we can get, but he's already said at this point in his career, he's not caring about securing the bag. He wants to win. And the Falcons do give you a chance to win. And the Falcons coach pretty much said during the combine that if I said we need to get the quarterback play here straight, because he says if the Falcons had decent quarterback play last year, I wouldn't be having this job.
That's right. No, that's right.
They would have won more games and they'd have probably been in the playoffs and we'd have had the same dude up in there. But they didn't. So
but you take Kirk over Russ at this stage of his career.
I don't know this new guy, offensive coordinator, to do. My thing is I want Russ because Russ could teach a quarterback how to play the position. I think he could. But the Falcons, I think they set up drafted my distant cousin, Dallas Turner, a rush guy from Alabama. Well, he gonna be my distant cousin when he get that bag.
Yeah,
that's my cousin. It's my cousin. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly that's how you said it. But I think that they're gonna get that kid and go with a veteran. Either they're gonna trade for Fields, which I don't want, or go with Cousins. They don't want Russ. So those are the options.
But the great thing about what the Falcons have, they can run the football, and that would help Russ or Cousins.
Well, that's my thing. Because Cousins is a glorified Ryan, not even glorified Ryan. Ryan light. I want my quarterback to be a threat on 3rd and 5. I think Cousins would be like Ryan or take a sack as opposed to run remember he has legs or anything like that. Fields will give you the athleticism, as will Russ. Or they'll give you athleticism. I think the kid from North Carolina will give athleticism, but I was looking at the top 10 people they're drafting this year and what their needs were pretty much. Number one, Chicago, they have a quarterback, but they're probably going to draft Caleb Williams or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. Or he's a problem child, or they're already starting to try to paint him as that. Granted, they didn't say that about the Mannings when they orchestrated their stuff, or they didn't say that about the Elways when they orchestrated their stuff. You know, Manning didn't want to go to they didn't want Eli to go to San Diego, but they forced their way to having the Giants get him. And Elway didn't want to go to, I think, the Colts.
Tampa?
Tampa?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they forced his way, into Denver. So, but the Caleb Williams' family is getting this other kind of vibe that they're talking about. But okay, Washington, number 2, they need a quarterback. Okay, that's another team. Number 3, New England, they need a quarterback. Okay, Arizona and LA and the LA Chargers are the next 2. They don't. Then the New York Giants, they probably will draft one because Daniel Jones hasn't been worth the money that they're paying him. Then you got Tennessee, they have a new quarterback. And you got Atlanta, they need one.
How did you say what city?
Tennessee.
No, after.
Atlanta.
Okay, thank you.
They're number 8. They need a quarterback, but all the good ones will be gone by the time they get there. So they might be getting, Uncle Rico from a movie back in the day. Then you got Chicago has another first-round pick at number 9. They have 2 first-round picks in the top 10. And then number 10, the Jets. They need a quarterback. So either the Falcons are going to trade up and get somebody, or they have to trade back and get somebody like the kid from Washington.
But the Jets, they are expecting what's the guy from Green Bay? I forget his name.
Love.
How quickly we forget.
Love.
Not Love, the guy before Love.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah. How quickly we forget.
So but they just want him for a year. So I don't think they're going to spend a top pick on a quarterback because they got some other stuff to address there. But those 2 free agent quarterbacks, you're going to be able to get Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins at a good price, and Atlanta could make a big move in that regard, I think, there.
Oh, yeah, I think they're going to make some noise because I understand the Steelers also are kicking tires on quarterbacks because their guys haven't really – Pickett hasn't done anything.
They need to.
Yeah, so
they need to. Who do you think's the top free agent out there, non-quarterback free agent?
Well, the guy absolutely number 1 is Chris Jones over there in Kansas City. He was outstanding last year. And so he's the guy that I'd be looking at big time. Name I was really surprised with is Saquon Barkley because if he goes to a team like Houston or Dallas, oh my goodness, it would be great to see Dallas. To see him in Dallas would be just the ultimate thumb in the nose at this old employer because he gets twice a year he gets to beat them down. So those are guys that are pretty high up with me. Another team that needs a quarterback because he hasn't signed yet is in the Falcons. I understood are interested in him, but he wants money. Baker Mayfield. So I would be interested to see that guy come around. I mean, he's somebody that has that kind of ability. He's a threat running the ball as well. So I like guys where you have to worry about.
And he's tough-minded too. I give Baker his props.
Yeah.
But if I'm in Atlanta, I kind of like Russell Wilson because coming off that Achilles tendon tear at 35, man, that's a serious thing to come back from. Although Rodgers kept claiming he was almost ready to play last year, so we'll see. And Trees just says smiling like these dudes.
No, I'm all in.
Oh, okay. All right. These quarterbacks.
I was like, I always like listening to you guys because you have this wealth of knowledge from your background as writing and sports and back in my day type of thing. So I love kind of sometimes just kind of hanging back and just kind of listening and learning.
That's what happens when you get old. Oh, my
Yes,
goodness.
that's what happens. We're gonna keep contemporary. But there was one story I wanted to post tonight, but I want photos of it. They're talking about it's called the tunnel drip or tunnel walk. It's the NBA where you see these guys coming out of into the building in the clothes that they're wearing. Go ahead, Tree.
What? Not just the guys. Sometimes they also cover the women. But go on.
I've seen some stuff in there that I'd be like, go back home.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, it's just
these guys.
But this the fashion is really impacting things. But to me, to a person, and I guess we need to find some clips and some pictures of it. Hockey players are the cleanest dressers out there. I mean, as far as suits and traditional clothes, as opposed to wearing, big old red boots, the big old plastic looking deals, or fur on your shoulder. I was looking at Halliburton wearing some jacket that was a pretty clean jacket, but had these big around his biceps were like Wolverines on both sides. I couldn't understand what his jacket was, but it's fashion, and so here I am in grandpa sweater tonight talking about somebody else's clothes. But
just critical. That's all.
What if you go out there and you come in all clean and then you go 2 or 14 from the?
But I look good. Yeah. But I did look good entering the building.
I think it's about getting attention.
I certainly believe that when I hit the golf course, I'm gonna look good if I don't play good. Hey, but you know what? We can't start the NBA without mentioning LeBron James taking the game to where it's never been before, scoring 40,000 points, reaching the 40,000 point plateau last week. That's a testament to his consistency and ability to stay healthy.
Here's my thing.
You got to give that man his props on that. Yeah, go ahead, Trey.
We can give him his props, but he's been playing since he was like, what, 18?
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
So he had more time to get to that, right?
Yeah, he did. But that's kind of part of it. He's been able to stay. I mean, right now he's averaging 25 points, almost 10 rebounds, shooting 50%. I mean, he's obviously, we know he's a great player, but he's been able to just take care of himself physically, unlike anybody we've seen. Some of that's luck, and some of that's the work he's put in. And on top of that, LeBron's not really a score first guy. He is a more of a pass.
Yeah.
More of a what?
You look at his numbers. He got a career triple double, 40,000 points, 11,000 plus rebounds, 11,000 plus assists, almost 11,000 assists.
That's nice. I'm still not a huge fan, but it's nice.
Well, you don't have to like the game, but I mean, I didn't like Larry Bird's game, but
I love Larry Bird back in.
I mean, that's the thing, but you got to give up, that kind of greatness.
Yeah, that's true. But I saw something online last week that Kevin Garnett on his podcast intimated that LeBron was getting some assistance with his physical fitness.
Yeah.
So I'm like, LeBron.
They used to say that about Tiger. He's got to be on steroids. That's going to help you hit the golf ball. I mean, unless you can show me somebody's doing something, that's just easy to throw out there, I think.
I think it's jealousy on a lot of times, too, on some things. Granted, he's done it at a high level. LeBron has enough money to get, the best trainers, the best nutrition, best masseuses, the best everything to stay in tip-top physical shape.
And bro, no, go ahead, tell me when he cut you off.
No, there's no need to cheat. He doesn't have to cheat. He's physically gifted, and he supplements that by taking care of himself, eating right, exercising, doing those things.
I'm like Zion Williams, bro. See what he's doing. Now, I give Zion a pass having once lived in New Orleans.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to do.
That's what I'm saying. It's like putting a kid in the candy store. I mean, the minute he was drafted, I said, "There go Popeyes."
Wow.
That's all. I was like, "Here we go."
Wow.
My nephew was talking about he's gonna be great. I said he's gonna be great if they put some Cajun rice on the rim. Yeah, he'll put that in.
Wow.
On top of that.
Really, Tim? Really?
So he's gonna be in the slam dunk competition next year. He said, if I'm a starter or if I'm an all-star, I'll participate in the slam dunk competition.
Okay, then.
I'd love to see that because this dude, he's a big agile dude. To me, he'd be comparable to Shaq. I think if he took a little bit better care of himself, he could dominate.
And our friend Derek Gervin had noted that in his college days. He said, "Man, for all the dunking he does, he's gonna learn when he gets to the NBA over those 82 games, bro. You just want to just kind of flush that thing. Sometimes you don't have to, because you got to land.
That's a lot of landing.
And on that 280, yeah.
You want to look back when he was in college, and the big Nike reconstruction of the thing where he was going down court and he blew out a shoe.
Yeah.
All that body, ripping a basketball shoe.
Yeah.
So it sent Nike back to the drawing board as to what happened, because that's gonna hurt their brand if somebody fall out of their shoes like that.
They probably put it in the computer. 6'6", 280, moving at this level. Right. The computer that does not compute. That can't happen.
No, that's pretty much like a rocket taking off from Kennedy Space Center.
Yeah.
The level of thrust on that shoe.
Yeah, that can't possibly happen. You're kidding me, right?
Right. So,
but he can't just be famous for like blowing out a shoe. Yeah.
No.
I mean, I don't know. This week I watched. You probably have seen it. The documentary about Christian Laettner. Everybody hates Chris. No. You haven't seen that?
No, that would be awesome. That has to be awesome.
It is awesome.
Tim says with great glee.
Yeah.
No, it has. Well, I have a back in the day Christian Laettner story.
I love Christian Laettner, but go on.
It's not a bad one. It's what the deal is. I was tasked after the game to go into the. I think he played for the Heat in the NBA. I was tasked to go into their locker room after the game, and I was waiting for a couple of minutes, and there are these just two stunning women were standing outside saying, they were like, "Are you going to the locker room?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got to go in and do some work." And she says, she gives me, she says, "Give this phone number to Christian Laettner." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm in there, finished doing my interviews, and he's about to leave. I'm like, "Oh, Christian, it's a lady out here. She here's her phone number." He looks at it, crumples it up, and throws it to the floor, and walks. I guess from handwriting, you could tell if that was going to be something special. He just thinks like,
that's a good one.
You should really see the documentary. It is so good, and yeah, he's in it, and just how
any part of it. Did they talk about him getting dogged for the Dream Team?
Yes.
We go. See, I figured that because when the Dream Team was picked, and your boy Larry Bird said, they were like, "I thought you were supposed to pick the best college basketball player. I thought we were gonna get Shaq." Larry Bird wanted Shaq on the Dream Team. Did not want any parts of Christian Laettner.
Yeah. I mean, he was a really great college basketball player.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
He was.
He was great. And it's really good. You should really check it out. I saw it just the other night. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Tim,
awesome.
and that goes back to the conversation we were having earlier with Caitlin Clark. I mean, look how they push Christian Laettner up there.
Oh yeah.
And,
Oh yeah.
and was that really his doing?
No,
He went to Duke. Coach K's his coach.
that's PR. It was totally PR.
Yeah.
You know, and it did him a disservice because I think people resented him for that very reason. People, you know, that's the eye test. You know, I see that Shaq's the most dominant player in college basketball, but this is the best guy that you have, and so that kind of stuff rubs people the wrong way. If you know, and if you participate in that, you know, that's on you. So that's interesting in how they did that.
Okay.
That's interesting. I mean, that really is. But yeah, we're headed down towards the NBA playoffs. You got Selection Sunday in about 10 days with NCAA. We got the start of Major League Baseball around the corner, and you can help me being an Atlanta Braves guy. What's the latest on my man Acuna?
Nothing. And he went to visit his knee specialist out in LA this week, and it's just irritation. Nothing else is going on about it. And so they're just he'll play probably the last couple of games of spring training, but they're gonna give him rest and let him get himself right for the season. He's this guy here. If he stays healthy, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's just an outstanding talent. And you know, there's only two ball players that I'd ever seen just on the first go round look around going, wow, they're so much better than everybody else. It's Frank Thomas and this kid. Everybody else is pretty much, they're in the same realm of possibility of being good ball players, but they were just such standouts and just how unique their talents were. And this kid here was just been from the moment they laid eyes on him in minor league ball, it's like this kid is special. So
he is fun. I mean, I said it before. This must be like what it was to watch Willie Mays play.
Oh yeah,
today.
Has to be in their prime, Mays and Aaron. Because by the time I saw Mays play, he was a broken down dude.
Yeah,
that when we were interested in it, it was like they were way past their prime. But seeing this guy here when he's coming into his own, so it's really great to see.
Yeah, the thing about being a Braves fan, Tree, y'all down in Georgia, you got to wait till the playoffs because you know you're going to be there. So how you get through the whole summer? You just go through the summer hoping everybody's healthy, right?
And pretty much you want to do. They said, what kind of pitching are they going to get? Because they didn't pitch well in the playoffs, and nor did they hit in the playoffs, which is why Philly took them out 3 games to, I think, 4-1 in that series or whatever it was. Which is why Philly knocked them out early. They didn't do well. They lost pitchers and they didn't hit.
I still got this tape going because I just like to watch them play, man.
Oh, absolutely. But I'll be there on the second. They played 2 series at home. Start the season. They start with Arizona, and then that first game, April 8th, I will be in the ballpark. Those are birthday tickets for my son. That'll be the 50th anniversary of Hank hitting 715, April 8th, 2024.
And speaking of back in the day, you were there.
Yes, sir. I was there that night, back on the 10th anniversary, there for the 30th and 40th, and we'll be back for the 50th.
Do you still have tickets from that?
I have nothing because I left at my parents' house. This is the deal. The night of that home run, they gave out these placards that say that you were there when they hit the home run. I got one. 10 years later, I was there for the reenactment. I got both Aaron and Downing to sign it. I had no idea where it is. No idea where that thing is. But I went back when they did
what that's worth nowadays, too.
Pardon me?
It's no telling what that would be worth.
Yeah. It's probably more than Bitcoin. you know.
Well, let me see. I got some change in my pocket. I might be able
You got some coins. Got some coins in his pocket for you, Tim.
Yeah, so that would be the thing. So basically, you know, people are getting hyped about baseball because the Hawks are so iffy and sometimey right now. So down here is great. I think everybody's hope springs eternal in just about every baseball city except for some where you know they're gonna just be trash. You just know it. And those bad teams, I don't even say how they get the energy to go through spring training. But you know, there's hope springs eternal in Philly. The Dodgers, the world's gonna be looking at the Dodgers. They spent $500 million on 2 players. So good luck to them and see what the deal is. My friends in LA said they spent that kind of money so they could keep up with the Braves. Which is, you know, it might very well be true, but you know, Philly's really good. So Arizona is still really good. So,
and then you have the American League Central, which is probably the closest thing to a minor league division in major.
The Twins,
the Tigers actually are considered one of the front runners.
Hope springs eternal. And see, that's one thing I want to go to Comerica. How far is Detroit from Chicago?
Oh, 230. It's going to depend on traffic.
230 miles?
Yeah.
That's 4 hours. You're saying that.
It's nothing.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
You get on 94 to Dan Ryan, you're going to do 100 on both of those. You're going to do at least 80.
That's Rickey Hampton Highway Patrol in Illinois. Rickey Hampton.
Yeah, so hey, that is a piece of cake. Hey guys, we are headed down the home stretch here. Yes. Is there anything we did not touch on? You know what? This is my fault on this fashion thing. I want us to get into some of these looks that we are seeing in pro sports today. But actually, you said the hockey guys are the cleanest.
Yeah, because they have these. They go to these one tailor that does. He also outfits NBA players, but they have a tailor that everybody goes to because it pretty much they say when you come up here, you got to look good on the road. And you see these cats coming off the bus, and it's like, you know, runway in Paris, essentially. Well, no, not that bad because you know you see kind of foolishness on that kind of stuff. But they're very clean.
What's got to be foolishness?
Well,
it's got to be foolishness.
There are some things that you would not see people wear in regular situations. Like some of these pants where these things are inflated. They look like the people are walking with airbags. Are you wearing that to church? I don't think so. I just don't.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just.
I don't understand my fashion, but you know, I don't mind.
You don't understand.
Let me see. I may see if I can sneak one in here on you. You know, Russell Westbrook can come up with some stuff.
He does. And see, Russell started a trend a while back. I'm like, I don't get it, dudes. Why are y'all just wearing these glasses with no lenses in them? What is that supposed to be about?
That's not new. People been doing that.
I said he had this trend because I know he and D Wade. I mean, D Wade was still playing. All these cats are wearing these no lens glasses, and I'm like,
what about that from Russ?
Yeah, that's him. That's him saying I'm going out to the front porch to get my newspaper look.
Well, I had to get up close on that one. I was like, what? What was that?
Yes.
It did look like that.
Did you see it clear? He's in his bathrobe tree. Let me see.
That's that Will Smith picking up the paper doing Independence Day look.
Also Brad Pitt and Mr. and Mrs. Smith look. Yes, it's like this.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Let me see it again.
What are we doing here, Russ?
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Look at all the robes at the bottom. It's cold.
He's going to get his newspaper. Hey, Tim, I wonder what newspaper's still printing that he was going to get off the front porch.
This is true
nowadays. So, yeah.
Oh my God, that's
funny.
That's a good point.
Oh, speaking of Russell, he has a
hand injury, right?
Yeah. So we wish him the best. All these guys, there are a lot of key injuries in the NBA right now.
Yeah, because I don't know if Antetokounmpo played tonight because I think he has a bad ankle. and there's a touch and go thing with him tonight. And granted, the Bucks beat the I think somebody the other night without him, and I think they won like 6 games since the All-Star break. And they were thinking before the All-Star break, and Doc Rivers was making all the excuses as to why they weren't winning. Now they're winning, and everything's all well in Milwaukee.
So maybe they won without Giannis. Maybe they're better without Giannis. Huh?
Well,
but is Steph okay?
Hey, but did you see that Damian Lillard said he's homesick
for Portland?
Yeah.
Well, his family's still there. He's got
his family's still in Portland and all that. Of course, he's making $50 million this year, and
bring him along.
You that's what I'm thinking. Who do you miss, bro? You making $50 million? Come on out.
I think it might be similar. I don't know the community. I've never been to Milwaukee. I really want to go there someday.
Milwaukee's a great city. It's cold. I mean,
Portland, because Portland to me, it has its spots. I think that overall it's a really beautiful place, but they have a legalized drugs problem there, and it is rampant. And
legalized drug problem.
Well, yeah, it's legal to do all kinds of drugs, and to see the scope of homelessness and drugged out people there in different parts of town is staggering. It belies the image of this beautiful rose city. They have this rose garden there. Was there last summer. Every conceivable permutation of a rose that you could find is in this garden, and it's next to Portland Zoo. It's a beautiful area, but you got that, and then you get the other side of the cities, but the people there have been really supportive of their teams. The Timber, the soccer team. Which did something really interesting this past week, where I think there was one of their primary sponsors. Somebody was accused of some sort of malfeasance, and the Timbers cut them loose immediately. But who would turn their nose at money? Who would reject money on principle? And that's one thing that this team did. So shout out to the Portland Timbers, but they support their teams out there. They have the Timbers and the Blazers. And they get, they're really, really supportive and really behind him. So I can't fault him for that. It
doesn't matter how much money you make. You can still miss your friends. You can still miss your family. The point is, I don't think many people are going to feel sorry for him for that circumstance, considering you asked to be traded. You didn't want to play for Portland anymore. And Milwaukee was the place you ended up, and bro, you're making $50 million. So,
and in the game they won the other night without Giannis, they said that's the first time Dame has looked like Dame. Yeah, it's not he had to share the ball type thing, and maybe he needs to be number one option somewhere else. But it seems like it's working in Milwaukee right now.
Yeah. Hey, well, we better get out of here, guys. It's been a great evening. Good catching up with you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll be back our regular time next week, Tuesday at 9 p.m. But until then, from my friend Tim Turner and my friend Chief McDougal, I'm Rickey Hampton.
Hey, you know what? Be kind, everybody.
Good night.